So friends, today we will be interacting with each other. Today we will interact in such a way that I need once again some wonderful person who, not so long ago in general, is brave enough to be a so-called test subject, who wants to say with whom we are working through some points. It can be a newcomer, it can be an old-timer, but meaning someone already experienced fighter. It can basically be anyone, I think, among us. But actually, indeed, truly, let's take an absolutely wonderful example. Well, who do we have here? Who is brave here? Who is cheerful? Who is agile, skillful? Who is called jungle, so to speak? Here, Albina Klimova, everything freezes up to... Everything freezes. Everything there is, everything. Please tell me, is it better now or not with the connection? 111. Testing, testing. How do you see me? Can you confirm? How do you hear me? Please, how is the sound quality? Good. Good. So, let's return to finding a volunteer. A volunteer who will confidently step forward, so to speak. A brick factory or a brick quarry. Two people for the sand quarry. Who will be? The one who will be brave inside. Everyone is really nervous. Artem Uriston, let's take Albina and with a cynical image. We'll pull Albina. Please tell me, can you get in touch? Albina Klimova, we are interested in the hour. Albina, please turn on the microphone. Let's work with you.
So can you see and hear me? Can you hear me, friends? Good day.
Guten Morgen, Albina.
Yes, good day.
Friends, let me introduce you to Albina, because probably not many of you know her. And she is a very modest girl. For some reason, she doesn't talk much about herself, but I'll briefly introduce her. So, Albina is the first line. Evgenia Bugayeva, well, a wonderful team member, very responsible, very modest, very disciplined and structured. A girl, a partner, who already has very good volumes, over 300,000 turnovers, as far as I understand. And at the same time, she modestly does her work, earns money, and lives in Hamburg. She has been living in Hamburg for many, many years, and accordingly is building a European structure. Albina, please tell me, did I get everything right?
No, everything is correct.
Everything is correct. Albina is also our spiritual mentor for quite a large group. She is a pastor of a Protestant church. And generally speaking, a person of very serious moral principles, and this is what he actually teaches people. Therefore, Albina is really a great asset for us. She's doing a great job. It's always very comfortable to work with her.
Thank you.
Yes, Albina, well, now we are going to play the role of test subjects. So look, our task, dear friends, is now, together with Albina. I'll say right away, Albina did not prepare for this presentation. It's absolutely random, just like shooting in the dark, as it usually happens with us. Everyone is unprepared. And now we are going to go over a few simple basic rules that will help you succeed in network business, even if you are completely a complete beginner. And it doesn't matter whether you have a lot of life experience or you are just, I don't know, a student who recently starting as an adult, essentially. It doesn't matter at all. We are taking the very basics now. And this foundation, in fact, many of you, as you become professionals in network business, have undoubtedly gone through at some point. They were told about it, or they lived through it and understood. But now we will structure it, and for many, it will be a reminder. And for Albina, who is also a professional network marketer with us for many, many years, and for Albina, it will also be a good opportunity to remember the past. That is, to return, so to speak, to analogies, to the origins. So, well, let's get started then. Albina, look, I want to discuss something with you. Do you consider the rule, always listen to your mentor, one of the most important in MLM?
I believe, yes, that it is true. Because if he has already gone through something, if he has already gained something, if he has already achieved a goal, then accordingly, you can look up to him. And accordingly, if you trust, then you should definitely listen.
All right. What other aspects could be related to this? Why is it necessary to listen to such a mentor? But let's tackle a rather complex question. Let's assume we take an adult person, for example, 50, 60 years old, with some life status, with various achievements, with experience, and his business invited. Well, a young guy or a young girl, I don't know, under 30, and it would seem in ordinary life they are on different social rungs, on different material rungs, on different, I don't know, well, there you go, on different rungs altogether. Why should an adult with life achievements listen to their mentor, to the person who signed them up for a network company?
The first, very simple answer. It's all very, very simple. The mentor, Yish, knows more about the firm, about the company. He knows more about the products. He has already gone through his personal experience in developing himself, in acquiring knowledge. He has already achieved some financial results. Therefore, I believe that this is even help. It's also simple. Always turn to the person who has already gone through it themselves. Therefore, I believe it doesn't matter what age or status a person is. The main thing is what goal, what result the person wants to achieve in their life, and listen to that mentor regardless of their age.
All right. Albina, look, do you agree with the thesis that the way you treat your mentor, that's how my first line and the entire structure relate to me?
Yes, I agree with that. Because the way you are, that's how your environment is around you. If I don't respect, if I don't honor my superior, if I treat them with disdain, well, of course, it also depends on the mentor, how they behave, their conduct. But if he wholeheartedly, with all his soul, wants to help, somehow corrects and guides. In fact, in order to help a person accordingly, if you treat your mentor with disdain, then how can the structure relate to you personally? That is, you reap what you sow. You know, there's a saying like that. It works perfectly in this case.
Okay. Albina is completely shocked. She was suddenly attacked by chance. I think she was driving somewhere. She's already caught up in the whirlwind of events. All right, but please tell me, Albina, about the fact that, for example, let's put it this way. Does the way we treat our mentor affect the mentor's development? Let's discuss this matter. By the way, you can write your own versions. These are questions. Basically, everyone just write in the chat. And while Albina is thinking, we will also think, I'm watching. Alexander writes that it seems if I listen, then how about me? Later, I agree with Alexander, but...
Look, a mentor is generally influenced. A person's behavior should not affect the mentor because the mentor has their own goal. And the mentor has their own mentor. And the mentor should, in principle, focus on their own vision, goals, and plans. Of course, when there are some disruptions in the team, then accordingly, it distracts, so to speak. But I wouldn't say that this mentor has such an influence, well, at least on their personal, yes, on their personality, on their goals, on their plans. As for their advancement, it should not affect. But accordingly, it distracts from moving forward and having a holistic, some kind of team spirit, yes, team, some goals, yes, this can be distracting accordingly.
So excellent. That is, well, we basically understood this thesis. Look, you know which moment I'm more interested in? Let me express a bit, and you give your point of view so we can try to articulate it. So let's say if you have, for example, you're a newcomer, a person comes in, even slightly more experienced, more influential, and he starts selling you on his structure. And invite, for example, to meetings, discuss with you some joint plans, tasks, and so on. Won't it be the case that you will understand yourself that you need to live up to this status? You will develop and take greater responsibility for every word spoken, for every motivation given to this team. You will really try, develop, and grow as a mentor because you understand that you have been given a credit of trust that cannot be let down. That's roughly what many people, when they receive a certain credit of trust, there is. Undoubtedly people who abuse it, but in network business, it's quite difficult to build a career on dirt and such things. Well, in such matters, it's much better to be sincere and create sincerely. And so if we treat a mentor, well, the mentor becomes better. Can such a thesis have the right to be considered?
In this case, of course, yes, as I already mentioned. From my personal experience, when a mentor goes through, they must definitely attend schools. They must always somehow stay in the loop to be able to pass something on. And accordingly, when they say, listen, well, this school is excellent, right? There is wonderful training. Do you want to hear the marketing plan? Join in so that let's have you listen as well. And then we'll also discuss your personal goals, what you're striving for, how you want to move forward, accordingly, the mentor. They must first learn all of this in order to pass something on further. I completely agree with that. Of course, it then motivates the mentor to...
Yes, to develop and move forward in the chat. Thank you very much, Bina. Now we have, so it turns out in the chat they write, I push him towards development by asking questions. If he doesn't know something, he will search and develop 100%. Here writes Alexander Vam, Wertler, and Venera Beglova. By the way, indirectly, we contribute to the mentor's development as our questions help him delve deeper into the topic. Indeed, because very often there's a situation where if you don't know something, you ask your superior a question. A good superior will either answer you or go learn how to do it. You don't know how to top up your personal account. You have a mentor for that. The mentor will explain it to you. You don't know how to register on the exchange. You have a mentor. He will explain it to you. You don't know how to conduct meetings. You have a mentor. We will get to that shortly, by the way. he will, and so on, and so on. All right, friends, thank you so much for your feedback. You are creating a very, very correct message. Friends, if you have any opinions, be sure to write in the chat. Let's figure this out. These are questions that seem simple, but they are very important. If we indeed accept all this unconditionally, we will have a very good result. All right, Albina now. Let's assume you are showing a very good result, seriously, but you start saying, I would like to work directly with the company and not with my esteemed and highly respected mentor and guide, Evgeny Bugayev, a renowned expert in his field, because I don't know why, maybe because he's bad, for example. Or let's say not bad, just, well, I don't know, something, somehow, somewhere. How would that affect your business?
Albina, if you mean if I were looking for opportunities, because I don't see him as my mentor, I think in that case, of course, you can reach out to a higher authority. And I think it would be wonderful, first and foremost, to reach out to Evgeny and discuss this matter with him again if he is my mentor. That is, I think honesty and integrity also play a big role in this case. And invite a higher authority to discuss certain points.
Thank you. I completely agree, friends. Look, often we encounter a situation where we don't like our mentor. There. The mentor has moved on to more influential, the cooler things, and so on. But here, or there, someone is too high up to work with you. They want to work directly with the company. There can be different examples, but one way or another, network. But remember the first thesis. Yes, that is how we treat our mentor is how our network will treat us. Alexander also writes, I had such an example, and this person burned out in 2 weeks. Unfortunately, hello, Dimitri, here. You can take a seat at the port. So well, the next point. It's very important to value your own, to set when, if for some reason, you work more with another mentor. You must speak only well about your mentor. Only well, that is, for example, if Petya signed you up, and Petya, for instance, I don't know, but he's a busy person. He spends more time, well, that is, more time. He is engaged in his own business, for example, and devotes less time to network business. But you can see how Petya can help your structure. But you mainly work with Kolya, who was invited by Petya. Never speak badly about Petya in your network. This is very wrong. This is very wrong. It creates a situation where there are some intrigues in the network. In the network, well, yes, as Alexander says, you don't choose your parents. Good relationships in principle, yes. When people start speaking badly about this person, that person, it's better if we focus on results and speak positively. That's it. Ideally, we shouldn't speak badly about parallels either. That's it. Well, let's at least start with those who calculate. All right, good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let's move on. Albina, are you not tired yet? Ready for the next one?
Yes, I'm really looking forward to it. Next question.
Let's go. All right. Introduce a worthy mentor. A very short question. What is it? It's very important to understand this, especially for newcomers. And in principle for the veterans too, although the concepts are slightly different there. At the initial stage, many of the newcomers, even thinking that they understand this business, they speak in the most awkward and clumsy way. They explain as if at the level of, I don't know, a monkey asking for a banana. Well, that's the level of solidity that usually happens. even if the person is serious, suddenly there, and we were like, ah. And in any case, your first 10, 15 stories about this business to your acquaintances will be as dumb, as funny, and as ridiculous as possible. And this is a natural process, because when you first got on a bicycle, I think you weren't a model of acrobatics either. Accordingly, in this sense, a mentor can really help you out a lot. They can really help you out a lot because at the initial stage, well, for example, you might say, there's this thing, join me. What's it about? Then all the thoughts start flying. Nonsense begins, and so on. And so a mentor is the person to whom it's easiest for you to sell. I apologize for such a slave-owning terminology, but selling a mentor is the quickest way to build a big business. For example, I signed up with Albina. I invite a person. I say, I have a friend. For example, there, I don't know. Here is Alexander Baumgartner. My friend Sanya, there's a topic. Yes, he talks to me. I say, listen, what's the topic? The topic is related to income. There are various ways to earn. So, I now understand this topic as a whole, but it's still quite difficult to explain it in my own words. It will take a long time, and I want to introduce you to the person who explained it all to me properly in the first place. Therefore, he will explain it to you too, which will save my time. And most importantly, you will see which team we can move forward with. This person is very respectable. That means Albina is an amazing professional, vibrant, interesting, energetic, with high moral principles. A person who is already earning very serious money in this matter, and he will help explain and show what needs to be done. Please, Alexander, don't let me down. Don't ask silly questions. Let's arrange a meeting. She is a busy person, and we will call each other, and she will explain it to you. So if I say something like this, the chances that Albina will explain to such a prepared Alexander better than I can is great. Moreover, she will be much less worried than I am, because for her, Alexander is not a friend. She is not afraid of losing Alexander. Do you understand this point? Albina, do you agree with this?
Yes, I absolutely agree. You know, I had such an example yesterday. Yes, I had such an example yesterday. Yes, look, for instance, I had someone new join the team. And I also tell them, look, first practice, yes, on your own at home. Really understand your topic. What do you want to convey? Yes, you really need to understand, well, the essence of the company, what it offers. It's wonderful so that you are satisfied yourself. And from there, you start by just practicing at home. When you meet with a person, you understand who is in front of you. And if you fall short, well, let's say if there are any maybe doubts in yourself or something else, yes, then you can accordingly call me and we will arrange something. You can always say, yes, that, look, I have a person who explained all this to me. Yes, as you said, Dimitri showed and told me. He is an expert in this matter, and we can arrange a meeting where he can tell you more about it, explain. This is from the perspective of a student now. And as a mentor, accordingly, I am already, well, it turns out I am ready to help my person, but nevertheless, I still motivate them to do it. This eventually on their own, yes, and you are absolutely right in saying that everyone at first, well, doesn't become an expert right away. This is acquired with experience. That's wonderful.
I don't know about Germany. I think it's similar, actually. But in Russia, there's this thing where everyone wants to go somewhere based on a recommendation. That is, if I, for example, had my teeth treated by a certain dentist, and when a friend says they need to go for dental work, I tell them, go to this one, they're good. Then most likely they'll go to that one. I don't know if it's the same in Germany.
Of course, it's the same.
Exactly the same.
Everything works on recommendations. Absolutely right. And trust is built through recommendations.
Therefore, if you're afraid to tell someone yourself, well, not afraid, but worried that it won't work out, they won't sign up and so on, introduce them to a superior so that the superior can explain. There's a key point there that you greatly underestimate. You think that you can tell your friend? It's better to talk about the business, especially for beginners. I'll tell my friend myself. But I apologize, your friend's opinion about this business is very important to you. And accordingly, you will try very hard to convey it to them, and naturally, they will understand this. And that's exactly why you will be in such an unequal position. I'll give you an example. Well, probably, gentlemen, no matter how old you are, please write if you've ever experienced this, that when you just started courting girls, when you were completely inexperienced in school, maybe in college or technical school, then you really liked the girl and you behaved like an idiot. You try really hard to impress her, and that's exactly why she rejects you. And then some guy comes along who doesn't really care about her, and she falls for him, the little rascal. And you sit there thinking, I'm going to hang myself, or I don't know, jump out of the window. Because how could she, in the love of my life, choose some guy like that who doesn't even look at her? And this is absolutely true. This is a classic theme in Russian literature. The less you love a woman, the more she likes you. And it's a similar situation in business. When you sign up your friend, you start running back and forth, trying to impress the client, and naturally you often get rejected. If you have some close friends whom you care about, more or less. So, you see, if you refer to a mentor, it will be more beneficial because the mentor doesn't care at all whether you've been eating from the same plate with this person for 10 years or any other details. He simply explains the business and explains it competently. Do you understand this point? Interaction with a mentor is very good, but the effectiveness of this interaction primarily depends on how you have presented him. Because if you come to a person and say, this is a very cool dentist, go. The person goes to him as a great dentist, but if you just say, this is Uncle Petya, go to him, then there will be a lot of questions and doubts about Uncle Petya's qualifications. Therefore, we trust the mentor, we present him well, we sell the mentor, and accordingly, we always interact. Remembered, right? Please write in the chat. We have some intense negotiations in the chat, yes. So to speak, it has livened up. Situations and Chelyabinsk experiences. Chelyabinsk, Romeo and Juliet. Went on to discuss well. Another point I recommend each of you to have connections with at least 2 or 3 mentors, higher ups, because very often these are different people. And if, for example, your mentor is, say, an entrepreneur, then, for example, an older woman, then perhaps a student, let's say, maybe, perhaps, well, if we take different ones, then by knowing several of your higher up curators, you will start to gauge with experience who is better suited for whom to send. And this is important. They say there was nothing like it. Well, there wasn't for someone. Life Everyone's is different. We can only gather some more or less common things. So in general, it's normal to introduce with the composers. In general, it's normal to introduce with the composers. This is a good foundation. Overall, the movement of creating team relationships is very great. Albina, in general, what do you think? Are you ready to confirm, dispute, or add something else?
I wanted to add that is before telling my story, actually, because of that. So I suggested to my partner who just joined to take such actions as a partner. Well, he at that moment, he didn't relax. He didn't just give up. That is, he started training, first of all, himself. He said, I have a couple of people where I'm not quite up to par, where my expertise is lacking. And accordingly, he introduced me to that person. We talked, yes. So there were no emotional ties or insecurities, in that with everyone we introduce people to, there are some connections, there are some stories. I don't have a story with this person. Accordingly, I then apply my expertise, share everything I can, and want to convey, and the person signs up. So indeed, in this regard, on the contrary, we help each other even more. And as you said, I also always suggest, see who is better suited. Maybe it's easier with a man. It might be easier to communicate with a man, or maybe it's easier to communicate with a woman. And if we know several mentors who can already do this really quickly, effectively, and without any fluff, as I say then, accordingly, it brings many results. And accordingly, if I even introduce a person to a superior, then it turns out there is already some kind of team. There already is some kind of system, already a structure. It's not just me. And how can I be trusted? That is, there are already other people there who can be trusted more, and accordingly consulted for some answers.
Thank you. A wonderful illustration of what we are talking about now, and it's very relatable. Thank you, Albina. All right, good. Albina, shall we continue?
Yes, let's go.
Let's go. So, set joint tasks with the mentor. Let's discuss what we will say about this. What are your thoughts on these? Well, let's see. Why? Why set joint tasks with the mentor?
In general, without a goal, there are no results at all.
Just take more. Keep signing up everyone who signs up. Those who don't sign up, it's stir them up, sign them up. Well, in
my opinion, without a goal, there are no results at all. When we set goals, in life in general, there is a plan of action. And then, this often happened to me, both in my personal life and in life in general. I also observed my partners that panic starts, and then there's dispersion and wastefulness when there are no specific goals. But when there are goals, firstly, it's clear that I can achieve more. And there's this, energy that appears. Yesterday, someone was leaving me and he said, I need to do something. So it turns out that when goals are set, let's say we set goals. How many people do you want to have in the team? What income do you want to have? Then accordingly, the person moves towards them purposefully and focused. But when you're just pushing forward without direction, burnout or disappointment can happen very quickly because there's a lot missing here.
Perhaps I'll add a little from my side. Look, if you're just moving in the state of take more, throw further, sign whatever gets signed, then the first few rejections give you an indication of what you're doing. Wrong things, and that's it. In other words, the whole scheme doesn't work. If you set a big goal for yourself, for example, I want to earn $100,000 in a year, let's say. For what purpose? To buy myself, I don't know, a house or an apartment or a car. So accordingly, I can look, for example, at how many people I need in marketing to achieve certain results. Accordingly, based on this, I have something to offer people. Based on this, I have an understanding, for example, how many people need to be taken to Turkey and my own teams. Well, or to be in Turkey myself, yes. Or even if you are just a complete beginner, at least help the mentor, be in Turkey, complete the promotion, and so on. That is, when you have tasks and you discuss them with your mentor, you understand that you are not just running your chaotic business, you are responsible for a part of the mechanism. A large mechanism called NV Global, a big network. And in fact, if you just gradually start doing some simple tasks, for example, signing up one person a week, making a certain turnover in a month, slowing down with your mentor, completing some promotion and so on, attending your events, then whether you want it or not, you will automatically, over time, develop a very large structure. And at each stage, you will have your own small victories. It's important to understand this. Small victories lead to big victories. Before Genghis Khan conquered the whole world, he first, for a moment, conquered the neighboring camp. But if he were like, hey, I just need to conquer at least someone, he would have conquered the neighboring camp, and that's it. He would have been here. We need to be the coolest within 30 kilometers in all directions. And he would have been like, well, okay. But actually, for a moment, the empire of Genghis Khan was from Japan to Finland. Here are the approximate scales. That is, it's much larger than in the USSR. Once upon a time, because this includes India, Timir, everything together. And this all started with the conquest of a neighboring, just for a moment, village. Well, sort of like that. Therefore, a mentor always helps you to say, what needs to be done next? What needs to be done? And for this, you need to understand what task your mentor is working on. Be sure to ask them, what task are you working on and how can I participate in it? Because, for example, if you understand that it benefits your mentor for, say, 8,000 turnover to pass through your leg, for instance, so that they qualify, then you can say, buddy, come on, you should help me as a priority. It's really, really necessary. And through this, you will form your task and the mentor will accomplish their task. And even if you don't manage to qualify for Turkey yourself, but you help your mentor, you will become a key person for them. And they will do everything possible to ensure that for the next trip, where is the company's birth? In October, he already went with you. That is, it's not just you fighting for your result, but also a series of higher level mentors, higher level supervisors. That's teamwork. So sometimes when we're all together, standing in a pit, in something liquid, we need to help one person up so they can start pulling us out. And the one who helped the most, that's who he will pull out. It's logical. Therefore, this is a very important point. Thank you very much, Albina. Is there anything to add? Friends, if there's anything to add, write in the chat.
I have just one thing to add. You know, I'm always very interested in talking to people who have already been in such systems. Let's take Dmitry Polzunov as an example. He has already been in various structures. Yes, Dmitry has already been in different fields like network marketing, and he has seen how people work, how they move, what plans they make. And there are actually many partners around us who have already developed and moved in such different directions. It's very interesting to communicate because people think outside the box. And when people think outside the box, it always motivates you to move forward and create your own structure. And you can gain a lot of experience from this communication. So it's great that there are such guys in the team. You can reach out to them. They will always support you and always recommend what has helped them. Thank you, Dmitry.
Thank you very much, Albina. Let's move on. Another powerful segment, a powerful segment. Look, I'm saying Attend all company events, no matter what happens. So, Albina, what can you say? Support, refute?
Well, it's very, very important to attend events because we are accordingly at the most current level, especially during the meetings. Even, if sometimes I can't attend due to certain personal, I gladly listen to the recordings. It's very, very important for me to listen to the recordings to understand what's happening now, where we are heading with the company, with the team, and how we can continue to move and develop. And especially in the schools too, yes, if there's no opportunity to attend in person, then it's essential to listen to the recordings. And we have a great privilege that there are recordings available, and they are even provided in several languages. That is, we can further pass them on to the teams, and for that, a huge thank you.
Actually, let me tell you this. Thanks to Albina, always attending meetings, training sessions, and so on, she has firstly very good results, and secondly, I started translating for her team into German and English, respectively. And if you notice, we have had several schools in a row now with duplication in English. This is also thanks to the team of Albina Kea and Evgeny Bugayev won. Well, first and foremost, undoubtedly, Victor and Alexander Baumgärtner and so on. Their team is growing very impressively. Their team is strengthening significantly, and therefore, for them, more and more. More and more such international content is being created. And if they didn't attend, this wouldn't be happening. You understand, right? That's the story. So sometimes even just by attending events, a person starts to develop the company. Can you imagine such a powerful energy exchange? And, for example, in our case, in Albina's example, she attends events, receives up-to-date information, interacts. She conducts them herself. She is a speaker, by the way, in our German online presentations. And at the same time, the very fact that we have more and more German-speaking users appearing, we are creating translations accordingly. This is really great. And indeed, events provide energy, vision, and knowledge, so please do not miss the most important, most fundamental person. I feel like I'm about to play a very bad trick on him, so to speak. But Alexander Baumgärtner hasn't missed, I think, a single meeting or training session in almost a year since he joined the company. Well, it will be a year for him this summer. And those of you who have also been attending training sessions or meetings for a long time all know that Baumgärtner is always among the first. He always says, great, I can hear perfectly, I can see perfectly. And he always takes notes until the end, and then he takes additional materials and so on. And this person constantly improves his results, essentially being alone far away on the continent. You understand? That is until Juan appeared, for example, a month ago, we had no one else there besides Alexander's structure. On the entire continent of South America, but it was he who held the defense. It was he who increased. And Alexander is really great, genuinely open, awesome. I'm completely in admiration. So, yes. By the way, I'll tell you an example. I think I told it, or maybe I didn't. So what's the point? During the last training, the power went out in the city, and Alexander, I think, at 6 or 7 in the morning, went to another city, connected to the internet, and from there was at the training. That's how it is. And can you do that, as they say? And he has real results. By the way, Albina Klimova also doesn't miss anything. She already, both Alexander and Albina did not qualify for Turkey. They have very high turnovers, not good checks. So look how this works. So, and now we move on to the company's promotional campaigns. Company promotional campaigns. This is really a very cool thing. A very cool thing. This is a promotion for us, or promotional campaigns. In Russian, is promotional campaigns. In English, it's promotions. Here, those who are more or less experienced in networking know exactly that they need to strictly follow the promotion. Therefore, people with experience try to meet all the conditions first. For example, they announced Turkey. Let's go for Turkey. They announced some iPhones, MacBooks, and so on. Let's go for iPhone and MacBook and so on. Why? Because the goal of a promotion is not to win a prize. The goal is not to think about winning a prize. The goal is to train your structure to work on the promotion. That is to take and limit the amount of work by time. This is a very important point because, yes, the promotion works, for example, until June 1st. And the amount of work that a person planned to do in 6 months, you have a reason to say, let's do it in 2 months. Why? Why should he push himself? Because he will get something for it, this and that. Even participating in a promotion is a very important point. Therefore, friends, if each of you has conditions for fulfilling the promotion right on the main page of your personal account, set yourself a goal. At least close one position, whether it's a few registrations, personal volume, or in the near future. Because if you have at least one position closed, you can complete all the others. You see, you can complete, sign up. And many people actually fulfill the promotion as a credo from the moment they start, literally in a week, 2 or 3 weeks. It's absolutely realistic, but when you get used to constantly hitting the promotion and strive to achieve it, strive even to accomplish it, it's clear that not everyone will succeed, but strive to achieve it and do everything possible, you will find that your network automatically starts to replicate you. And then you are guaranteed to succeed. It's really great. It's really great. Therefore, Albina, please tell us, how did it happen that you fulfilled the promotion?
Does the trip to Tuareg inspire you? I really want to meet you all in person, everyone who will be there actually. In general, the team, how it is to communicate in person, to exchange some information, energy. Plus, I am absolutely thrilled about what kind of promotion we have because, well, actually the tasks are very simple. Just 2 partners, this time just 2 partners to sign. And this, well, actually...
Well, actually it's 3. At least 3.
Yes, well, overall, even if it's 4 partners, it's an achievable number, actually. Especially since we have only for newcomers, Photo 3 and teams, on the contrary, to do. That is in order to start, to travel, to see how the company works. It's certainly very powerful, actually, and for everyone. I believe that especially since it has been extended for a month, dear ones, it has been extended for a whole month. Our promo, that is, we still have almost 7 weeks to achieve this result and help those who have just recently joined the team, help them also participate in this wonderful convention.
All right, thank you, Albina. So, Albina, there's a question. It's quite straightforward and direct in front of everyone. And sometimes it seems to me that you say things just to politely agree. No, here it's really genuinely interesting to hear your opinion. Meaning, this is not prepared, not some kind of not a planned conversation. So, well, you really say everything as it is, that is everything as you think. Okay.
You see, when you indeed think like someone who is truly moving forward with truly certain goals, a team, and some absolutely promising prospects for the future, then why do I agree? Because I see potential in it. I see results in it. And actually, if you try...
It's not a real problem. Great. Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. So, dear friends, look, let us summarize a bit. That is, what we need to remember is that to achieve good results, first, we need to learn. Support from higher ups, and it's necessary to have good interaction with a mentor to know their tasks, what task you are working on yourself, including even within the framework of their task. If at the initial stage is not that important to you, at least help them complete this task. Your goal essentially is to learn to work in a team. The second point, you need to learn to sell your mentor, even before selling the business, because you will learn to sell the business over time. That is, selling the business, selling all the products, selling. It takes time to learn to talk beautifully about everything. But selling your superior curator, your mentor, well, is essentially a matter of half an hour. Repeat a few times, estimate, discuss with them, ask them questions, or you, since you know them, already know some things about them. This will greatly accelerate your progress in the business. Next point, having a common goal, great, sell, attend all events. Online, offline, you must be there. Whatever is done entirely by the company, you need to be there. That is, if you decide for yourself first that I will be in Turkey, firmly at my own expense or at the company's expense, then you will start Hardicka from the moment you make such a decision for yourself and buy, for example, tickets. From that moment, you will begin to think about how you will handle it. Either earn for this trip with the help of the company, or meet the conditions and go for free and earn. Do you understand the story? And accordingly, some constructive movement will begin. Well, and most importantly, promotions. Teach us not to be spontaneous networkers. As you know, there are, conditionally. Grandmothers with personal something, but from the stairwell, for example, she comes and says, oh, a new lipstick has come out. You see, for example, there is such network marketing where people just go with the flow, let's say. But professionalism in building large teams is necessary. Just like in tug of war, you need to synchronize to achieve great results, not to stand still, but to move forward clearly together. To hit the point precisely, point by point. Have you seen how in tug of war there can be a crowd of even strong people on one side, and on the other side a crowd, not as strong, but an organized team that pulls together at the same moment, strengthening each other. They can pull over. The bigger, stronger ones who are acting chaotically. And so working with promotions and events allows you to synchronize and hit the target. And having felt this first in another team, in someone else's, in your mentor's team, you will be able to pass this on to your own team. And this is very important. This is very important. Therefore, friends, I sincerely recommend you focus on these simple things. We deliberately did not take a large amount of information today, but rather try to cover such basics that I think many have simply forgotten. Even those who are already experienced. Those who are new, they never knew these things. Therefore, friends, if this was useful, be sure to write about it in the chat. You can even do it in the general one. So, what useful insights you gained, share this information. You will certainly have the recording. A huge thank you, Albina, because as I say again, the uniqueness of our schools is that we do not prepare the subjects in advance. We don't prepare them at all, because people come and just respond from this. Moreover, they don't even all know what they will be. Therefore, Albina, thank you very much. It's very good to feel that we are well synchronized in working with you and with Evgeny Bugayev too. And you have very good results. I wish you to bring a large German, and not only German, team to Turkey. Very, very, very valuable. Thank you very much, friends. Let's thank Albina. She is doing a great job. And accordingly, all right, we'll meet on Monday. There will be news. I even know some of them, but let your Sunday be intriguing. and interesting. All the best.